What is it about humans specifically that see nature and they see their own internal struggles? You see mountains as obstacles to climb and conquer, to overcome. You see an ocean as a wide expanse to be stuck in and isolated in. I think it's fair to say that within last year, a lot of people felt isolated. They felt as if they were drowning in a sea of solitude. And, well, as I did platinum this game last year during everything, it is also fair to say that mental health isn't ever connected to a single time. Some people struggle with mental health throughout their entire lives, and it's difficult to come to grips with some of it. Some of us don't want to admit that we are suffering from mental illness, or some of us just don't want that to define us, so we hide from it. Whilst I've never been diagnosed with anything, I have my normal ups and downs and everything, but there was a point in time where I was very much struggling with everything. I don't think I've hidden that from you guys at all throughout the history of this channel, nor do I want to hide that from you guys at all. It's only fitting that I record this podcast as a thunderstorm crackles on ahead, but you are never alone. And Sea of Solitude takes the concept of oceans and drowning and being so far away from everyone else and puts it in a 3D platformer, narrative-driven type game. Everyone's experience with their own sea of solitude, their own expanse that they feel alone in, is never going to be something someone else can know to the same level, even if you share. That doesn't mean we shouldn't share. That doesn't mean there aren't people out there reaching out. You play as a little sea monster in this game whose family is going through tough times, and whereas she thought she was being supportive and everything, she didn't quite realize how lonely she herself was until she looked around, looked for help, looked for her family. It's an emotional game, and there are definitely moments where it speaks much heavier than what the content itself is. And while I'm not going to really spoil anything, there are a couple of trophies that go into spoiler territory that I have to talk about that are missable, so be forewarned. Second, if you are needing help, if you are feeling alone, I'm going to provide links to whether it's a website that can get you some help or phone numbers for suicide hotlines or anything like that. This is a reminder that you're not alone, that there are people and communities out there that wants and needs you around. This is going to be a different type of episode. It's not really focused on the trophies as much as one girl's journey. And I hope that in talking about her journey, this little sea monster's journey, you're able to see that you can get some help too, if you need it, and that you're not alone. And there are people who can and are willing to help if you just go look for them. The first trophy is called Fire. It's fired the first flare, sending out that first beacon of I'm here, see me. And ironically, it's not the first person you would have thought that comes to your aid. The person that comes to her aid is a type of octopus kraken type monster, because the sea is filled with monsters, different parts of her psyche, different parts of her self-image coming and attacking her, keeping her stuck in the same places. It's intense once you really start to look into it. And there's a character called Mirror K, who you will get by interacting with for the trophy, called connecting with Mirror K for the first time. K here is remembering the times that she wasn't alone, and it is impactful and worth it. Uncorked, collect your first message in a bottle. These messages are the main collectible, one of the two main collectibles in the game, and they go deeper into the story, really talking about all the isolation and the things that got these characters to these points. This is the heart of the story, essentially. Shoot your first seagull. This is a trophy that, honestly, it's kind of just there to fit theming, and it's to be a light and colorful distraction from the everything else that's going on. There's nothing wrong with that. Deep dive, jumped headfirst into water from a high point. This is gonna be I believe it's a campaign trophy, one that you kind of get as you go through, but there are times and instances where you can just jump off of large and honestly terrifying, if you were to do it in real life, structures into the water. Moses, if you know what that's a reference to, there's your reference. You're gonna get that for a campaign trophy. Seeker, fire 30 flares. The flares are going to send you in a direction that you are aiming to go, aiming to progress in the story of Sea of Solitude. Very similar to Detective Vision in another game. School's out. Made it through school. Story mission. Not going to talk about it. Run away. Traveled very far by foot. This is one that you'll get almost by inconsequence. It is one that, as a part of playing the game, you'll end up getting. Runaway. Sunny. Finishing level 1. Sailor. Traveled a long distance by boat. Another one of these campaign trophies. Comfy. Respawned on a couch in Skyscraper. This is the second level of Sea of Solitude. It's essentially you'll find a couch in the office towards the end of the level, and you have to die, respawning, getting to this couch instead of any of the other safe places that you have been respawning throughout the entire game. It's putting you in the shoes of the father, and through dialogue and a mini cutscene that happens once you wake up, it's painfully clear what got everyone here. It wasn't a single thing, it was a cacophony of things that put all of these people out, made them so unreachable. Unreachable? Unreachable. Irreachable isn't a word. Lonely at the top. Reach the top of the skyscraper. Mama and Papa. Finish level 2. Breakdown. Finish level 3. Danger swimmer. Swim long distance while whale is around. Whale is the giant sea creature that stalks you from time to time. Best place to do this is after level 3 and before the end of the game. This game is remarkably short, and with the exception of collecting bottles and seagulls, there really isn't a lot to talk about. But that's not the point. This is one of the rare games that it's not about the trophy. It's not about even the game. It's about the story. And I wish I could get everyone to play games like this. Games that they aren't easy, but they are so impactful once you let them. And I'm not saying that this game is perfect. It is not. The main voice actress for K is an amateur. And that's being kind, I feel. Essentially, they pick someone from the office who had similar struggles to Kay, someone who had lived Kay's story, and gave her voice. And while it is touching, if you know that, and if you go through the documentary that they've added with the game, it doesn't change the fact that every time you open a bottle, you're listening to Kay talk, and Kay seems very bored and uninspired, as if she herself has gone numb. But that could just be me trying to give this story more legs. I personally don't see it. Whale is your ever-growing threat. And for Danger Swimmer, you need to almost die without doing so. If you die, it resets all the swimming you've done. So what you need to do is you need to swim for a while Whale is around. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And not die. You can hop out, but that resets. If you die, that resets. You have to find the spot in between level 3 and the ending of the game. And just go for it. There are spots. There are few, but there are spots. Resolve. Finish the game. Raver got grabbed by water hands 10 times. This isn't the school level. Before you really get inside the school, these ghostly hands appear from the water. Let them take you 10 times. Hey bud, don't fall. Eaten by whale 20 times for the human bait trophy. Flock of seagulls. Shoot all seagulls. Bottled. Collect all bottles. Now these 2 trophies, thankfully, can be done through Chapter Select, and they tell you how many bottles and how many seagulls there still are. Ones you've missed. Following that, the next one is Mermaid. Swimming a long distance. You can get this at the final island. It is a relief at the end of everything else. Out of all the darkness, all the sunsets type colors, it's calming. And the final platinum trophy is called All Done, when you've collected all the other trophies. Like I said, this game is short. Sitting at only 23 trophies, it's probably one of the shortest games I've ever talked about on the channel. And the motif of drowning is everywhere. The motif of water and having to go on journeys and for self-improvement is everywhere. You are worth it. You're worth making that journey. You're worth going and connecting with other people. Find your people. Because they want the best for you. They want to see you again. It's something I have to tell myself often. I personally get stuck with work, whether it's making episodes of the podcast or doing college or doing my full-time job. I constantly overwork myself, grinding myself down to nothing at times. And I've built myself up to be someone who needs to know that they themselves can get something done. And when I can't, when I fail, it hits hard. It is painful. My parents divorced when I was younger, and I felt like I had to pick sides. So the story that Kay is telling is relatable for that. There is the point where I stopped feeling like a person for a very long time, and instead I felt like an item that my dad could use to hurt my mom could use to hurt my dad. losing my identity. But that was never really the point. I went into theater to try to find myself, and after a long time, I know who I am again. It took a lot, and it wasn't easy. But it is possible. You are capable of doing it. You just need to remind yourself how capable and how powerful you are. Human beings are one of the most powerful creatures on the planet. They have reshaped this world. They have reshaped their own world. Every person has a world inside of their own minds. And yes, we have to come to an agreement on what reality is. Yes, we have to understand that not everyone feels the same way, and that's okay. Not everyone has the same experiences, and that's okay. And let me tell you, it is going to be so much harder if you can't do that for yourself. Because I, for such a long time, struggled with that myself. And I'm not saying this to get praise or comments in this section. I'm telling you this because I know what it's like to hate yourself and to hate waking up every day and to feel like you're alone in your own sea of solitude, but still come out on the other side. You are worth it. And if nothing else, this game has given me the platform to have this discussion. And if nothing else, this game was worth platinuming for that. For telling you that you're worth it. For reminding you that there are people out there that love and care about you. People aren't perfect, unfortunately. They are far from it, and they have failed, and they will fail countless times again. But that doesn't mean you aren't worth it. That doesn't mean that they aren't worth it. Yes. The world is covered in water. And that water may make you feel like you are alone. And every person is living on their own island. But guess what? We made boats. Human beings made boats. And if you are that alone, hop in your boat and go find the other island. Go find your people. Because you're capable. You have the autonomy. You have the ability to do that. I said at the top of this episode that this episode wasn't really going to be about the game or the trophies, and I'm sorry if this was a bit too weird for you. Come in a couple of days, we'll be talking about another game where it won't be as serious and it won't be as... Please listen. But today it had to be. Because if we're all in a sea of solitude, we're not helping each other. Because we're right there. For you, for each other. You don't have to roll over because someone else asks you to. But together we can show human decency. Together we can show compassion and love for our fellow man and woman. Because I believe in us as human beings. I believe in you as a individual. Let's go. My name has been Insane Raven, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.